Good morning and welcome to our community affairs program that we call 30 Minutes. Today our special guest is Mr. Brent Callicott of Union City, and it's always a pleasure to talk to Brent and have him here in the studio to talk about weather and other events. Brent, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Hey, thanks, Charles. I appreciate the invite. Always look forward to talking with you and sharing my passion with weather.
And we thank you, Brent, for all that you do when storms are on the horizon or they are here or have passed, because you've always got some very good information too.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just
local information, that's important.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be a person to bring awareness to everybody. That's my goal. And it's turned in from a hobby to more of an interest to the general public, and it's my honor to be able to try to do that, and I really enjoy it.
Well, you do a great job at it, that's for sure. And you benefit many organizations and individuals in the community, because in some of our talks over the last couple of weeks, I know that you had to make some calls to the National Weather Service for different events, from graduation to other things.
Oh, I have, yeah. And that's the good thing is I've been a Skywarn spotter, which they've kind of changed that direction now to just an observer. With the National Weather Service, really based out of Memphis. I've called Paducah before, but mainly we're under the Memphis jurisdiction in all of West Tennessee. So I talk to them, and they're very, very nice. I can call at any time and ask. For example, you mentioned the graduation, and there's been tennis tournaments, and there's been sporting events, and they don't know what's coming, and I can call and kind of get timelines. So I do that too, and just trying to help everybody out.
I have a great working relationship also with the National Weather Service in Memphis and Paducah, and you're right. They can give you the information you need.
Yeah,
and they're very accommodating, aren't they, Brent?
They are, and what it is, we have this 800 number we can call. They have a meteorologist that answers the phone right there. They've got everything in front of them, and they can actually look up things right there and tell you almost minute by minute, if not hour by hour, and the information you need. And I tell people, don't hesitate to call me. I can make the call and probably understand a little bit more and then pass it on to you. Yeah.
And a lot of people may not realize why the Paducah National Weather Service doesn't cover this area.
Yeah.
But when Rick Shanklin, and I'm sure you know
remember Rick Shanklin,
when
I
Rick
sure
was
do.
there,
Well,
he was the warning coordinator. Meteorologist. Mm-hmm. He told me, he used to come here into the studio, he told me that it actually takes an act of Congress to move that boundary.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before. I pursued that probably 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. Made some calls and talked to both senior meteorologists at both facilities, and questioning why, that we're double the distance by the crow flies between Union City and Memphis versus Union City Paducah. Actually, we're really close to Paducah, but nowadays with technology, they share so much information by computers, and they coordinate, and that's what they do now. There's 122 offices across the United States, and I've wondered, why don't they take the top tier of the counties in the state of Tennessee, over to the lakes area between the Mississippi River and the Boot Hill as well, and put those under the jurisdiction of the Paducah office instead of the Memphis office. But there is a lot of red tape, they told me. They understood what I was getting at. And I check radars, and I check Paducah, and I check Memphis radar and Little Rock radar at times. And everything will show pretty much there's something there, but want to be a higher resolution than the other one with the technology we have. So, but they coordinate when they feel things are going on, like the December 2021 tornado issues. They were all coordinated together, so it was almost like they were in a group meeting, and they were all very aware of what was going on. So yeah, we all have that same question. So,
and you and I know that most times when severe weather alerts come out, even snowstorms and things of that nature, those forecasts come out of Norman, Oklahoma.
That's right. They come out of the Storms Prediction Center, mm-hmm. and then it's up to the local meteorologist at the different offices to put out the warnings. A tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch or winter storm watch. when it's issued, it's coordinated between both. And out in Oklahoma, that's a divided building. There's actually two. There's the Storm Prediction Center's in one side, and across the hallway is the actual Weather Service office for that part of the country, just like Memphis, except they share the same building. So that's really neat how that works, and it's really amazing how and technology has gotten so in depth of what it used to be. I go back to as a kid watching old radars, on WPSD and KFS 12 and even WBBJ and Jackson. Pretty much all they cover our area right here. It used to be like a glow on the radar, and now it's just, they can spot tornadoes, the rotation, and they can spot debris if it's hit some. It's crazy. Yeah. It really is. And I'm grateful for that because it informs the public even better.
Right. I don't want to date myself, but I remember seeing the maps on KFVS and WPSD where they actually drew the fronts
with a black marker. Yeah, they did. Don McNeely,
Don
McNeely. And they would write on the map, that it would be 4 to 6 inches of snow, for that area. And now they have zones that they put that in, and
right.
and they can. That's just how technology has come around to help us and to make us safer. I think since December 2021, people pay attention to weather a lot more around here. And like I say, when I speak to people, I get to go speak to a lot of groups. I tell everybody in all of my speakings that weather affects every single one of us every single day. We all have to know how we're going to dress because of the weather, our activities outside, even our activities inside. Some people's going to stay home because it's raining. Some people's going to stay home because it's snowing. Things all dictates on the weather.
Right.
And it's 100% affects our daily lives every day. And our health.
True, that is true.
Yeah.
You saying that, I've heard people say before that there's no reason that you could never not talk to a stranger because everybody knows about weather.
That's right.
That's a topic that you can bring up.
That is a conversation.
Everybody.
That's right. That is how many times you say, boy, it's been a nice day today.
Right.
And that you may not know who that is. The next thing you know, you're talking about other things in your life. And weather is something
Sparks the conversation.
It sure does.
Absolutely.
It sure does. Good point. Yeah.
Again, today we are speaking with Mr. Brent Callicott here of Union City. And Brent, I want you to rehash for those who may be hearing you for the first time on our program, but when did the weather bug hit you?
Probably, I tell people 4 or 5 years, when I was at the age of 4 or 5, when I heard thunder for the first time and saw lightning. And then, of course, in the wintertime when it was snow, I was fascinated. And it just kind of carried over, and I had a little radio at home that I could actually press a button and you could actually hear the National Weather Service. And I could go on there and I would listen, especially if it was snowstorms coming. Because as a kid, we'd know if it's going to snow. And I'd go to school and I'd tell people, hey, it's going to snow in a couple of days, And that's kind of how it moved on. Then I got tied in with WPSD, with CalCISO and the Weather Watch program they had for probably 20, 25 years. I was a part of that from day one to the day they closed it. And now I actually kind of help out Grant Dade and the team at KFS 12, kind of let them know what's going on in West Tennessee. But that's where the bug hit me, and social media has actually allowed me to take that to the next level. It's a volunteer thing. It's something I want to give back to my community and just try to help make everybody's day safer. And bring them weather awareness to everybody. That's my goal.
And you've made an investment into having rain gauges and things so you have accurate information.
I have, and really, I've got my house. I've got I've got 2 really nice weather computers, and then I've got 2 that are more or less a little bit less than that, and I've got some manual stuff. I've got 3 manual rain gauges, and I've got 3 automatic rain gauges. So I've got a total of 6 in my yard. I've got another one at my employment, and got one there on top of the building. So I can take an average, and that's how I get my rainfall rates. And I've got 2 rain gauges. One will measure 10 inches, and one will measure 13. And they're actually official rain gauges that are used for different things, the groups that I'm involved in. So,
well, we're into the first month of June, unbelievably, so far this year. You've had plenty of weather to look after and to report, especially this spring with the water.
Yeah, we once again, since 2018, we've been wet. overall. I know last year in 2023 we had some dry periods, but overall last year we were above normal in precipitation. And this year has started out really average until the month of May hit. And I've had, as I've written down, I had over 13 inches of rain in the month of May, and a lot of that fell after the 10th. And then really since the 1st of May until now, we're pushing right now in Union City, some parts of the country or the county and West Tennessee and, Western Kentucky. It may vary inch to 2 inches, 3 inches, but I'm pushing 15, 16, 17 inches of rain since May the 1st. That's incredible. So that's putting us at about 35, 36, 37 inches for the year so far. And average for a year total in 365 days is usually about 50 inches, give or take an inch or so. So we're already above normal for this year, and we were average till May hit. So, and then now June, we're over 4 or 5 inches of rain, and we are 3rd, 4th day of June. So, hopefully we're in a dry spell. Hopefully this weekend, we're in a dry spell.
Yeah. It seems that we don't just get an average shower anymore, just a good shower, soaking shower. We have to get an inch, 2 inches or more. It
seems like that. And here's something else that we've had this year that we normally don't have as much. We've had a lot of hail. We've had a lot of hail this spring. In West Tennessee, we've had some hailstorms. We had hail on Monday. The northern part of Obion County had some hail. They put out a special weather statement. Ended up going in severe thunderstorm warning on that particular storm. And then on Saturday, we had something that really is very rare. Started getting reports of a funnel cloud spotted down around the Troy area. People started calling me. Come to find out, after I called the National Weather Service and they got to digging deeper, that was actually a landspout, which is like an overblown dust devil, as they always call them, except it happened with the storm. 30, 40 mile-an-hour winds, throws around lawn furniture, may throw up a tent or something like that. There might have been some branches that were broken, but they're saying those are 30, 40, 50 mile-an-hour storms. They can do a little bit of damage, but the dynamics were not right for a tornado, but it looked like a tornado. Mm-hmm. And I would have been the same way if I'd seen it. I would have reported, hey, there's a tornado. So, that was really unusual.
I told you I have heard Brian Allworth at KFVS talk about before the possibility of seeing a cold funnel. That's the same thing, I guess, right?
Pretty much, I think so. And those tend to, in my experience, those tend to happen when you're having a transition in weather climates, but the skies look somewhat sunny, but these dark clouds appear, and these cold air funnels will kind of take shape and come out of nowhere, which is fascinating. And really and truthfully, those are, I saw a post the other day, those are good tornadoes for people that are interested in chasing. Right. Those are good to follow because they don't do a lot of damage and stuff.
The National Weather Service put that out, calling that a land spout. And the storm you talked about Monday that moved through here, the National Weather Service, in their warning, which was radar indicated, said there was a possibility of hail up to the size of a quarter. I don't know if we got any that big.
I saw that. The most I saw people reporting was like pea-sized, dime-sized hail. And the way hail's measured, people say marble-sized hail. There's no really such thing as marble because there's various size marbles.
Right.
It's right. Most of them would think, but really they go by pea, they go by dime, they go by nickel, they go by penny-sized hail. That's all kind of the same, quarter. Then they move up to golf ball and tennis ball and stuff like that. So we've had our share of that this year too. Fortunately, we've not had the massive, what they call gorilla hail. We've not had any of that, but we're not. It's not good for our crops either, for our farmers.
And we are still recovering all around the area from our storm that occurred with the 60 and 70 mile per hour winds that caused some damage.
Yeah, it did. And something on that one was they were saying we're going to have like 2, 3, and 4 rounds of the storms. The first storm they didn't indicate was going to be like it was, right. And it ended up being the most severe part of the storm that we had. I know Union City had about 4,600 customers out of power at one time, which is really unheard of. I can't remember that amount of people out of power since the ice storm of 2009. And then, but Gibson County had 6,000, I think, or something like that, or more. So we had a lot of people that were out, for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. But, I want to give my applause and hats off to those people that get out. I know we have the first responders and all, but man, electricity runs our world. We got to have it. And those men and ladies get out and work in dangerous conditions.
Absolutely.
My hat's off for what they do.
Yes, did a wonderful job.
Yeah. And the Weather Service was really, really worried that afternoon, on that Sunday afternoon. They were worried about having some long track tornadoes.
We were in a level 4 threat.
We were, and we ended up, there was one north of us up around the Princeton, Kentucky area, and east of the lakes, and then there was one over in the Arkansas area that ended up being, I think, an EF2. We actually ended up being blessed on that. We just ended up quite a bit of rain out of it.
We did. And that forecast, that forecast for that day, they had started mentioning that here, and you saw, and I did too, about Tuesday that week.
Yeah.
If they ever start talking early,
yes,
and
sir.
then you notice every day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you say, this thing's not changing, it's very concerning. That's with winter storms or spring storms.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right.
Yeah,
and
you always hope that somewhere down there they back off of it. And this one, they did not back off.
Right.
They put us into level 4, and they actually predicted, as you said, that night was supposed to be the most dangerous part. We got it the morning.
Yep, that's right. And it caught everybody off guard. Thank goodness a lot of people had not made it to church yet.
Right.
And, that could have been, it could have been worse if more people had been on the road. If it had been 2 or 3 hours later. And schools, could have had schools going on. So,
right.
We had a hiccup that day, and we've got a lot of trees that were up, I'm not going to say up road, they're broken. And power poles, but it can always be worse. And I think since the 2021 tornado, like I said earlier, I think everybody now pays a little more closer attention. And you made a great point. If they start talking about severe weather 4, 5, and 6 days out, and they stay on that path, folks, you better pay attention, because it's likely going to be something going on in your area. It may not be at your house.
Right. Yeah, I have learned that here. I kept telling people, I said, they're not backing off of this forecast, and and of course May is the most dangerous tornado month for our area anyway.
It seems like it. Yeah, end of April, May, 1st of June, and then also we have to pay attention in the fall, the late fall and early winter is that's a dangerous. Matter of fact, it just seems like that has become more of a threat than the springtime.
As you said earlier, that clash between the warm and the cool.
That's always,
that's a big no-no, isn't it?
It is, and it seems like in the summertime we don't have it as much, but in the wintertime, if you have really warm weather in December and January, and you've got a massive cold front coming through, at some point you can almost get ready. Somebody's going to have some kind of severe weather. Even, when it's supposed to snow, we could have bad weather, and then things change. So I don't know. I've always told people, if you don't like the weather in the Mid-South and where we live, stay around. It'll change in 2 or 3 days.
That is true. The National Weather Service also determined that there was a tornado during these storms. That Sunday morning storm that hit here right outside the Fancy Farm area in Graves County just skirted past Mayfield again. I think it was EF1, but wind speeds were 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, still, they've got everything, not even in the back of their head, it's in the front of their head. Their minds are just thinking, man, surely not again.
Right.
And that's really scary. And I want to just make sure everybody, I think it's a WR 120, I think is what I try to tell everybody to get, but it's a Midland Weather Radio. You can usually order those. Most of the time, I'm not trying to plug Walmart, but Walmart's usually one of the places you can get one, but they keep them sold out. But you can order one, have it shipped to your house. They are the best ones to get. They're a white-looking radio, Midland, and we got like a blue indicator area that tells you what's going on. Pretty simple to program. It's the greatest thing to have in your house, greatest insurance you can have as far as protecting you, not only from weather, but the government can actually let you know if you have something going on, under kind of a deal with military or something, we have an attack.
Absolutely.
It will, yeah. So.
And when they put that out over that, matter of fact, I have a Midland sitting up here right beside us here that we use. That is a very thorough bit of information they put out concerning a watch or warning.
It is. And they do everything now by county, and they split the counties up nowadays.
They do. Yes.
And that's the way those are put out. So you can program these radios to only hear what's going on in your county. For example, if anybody out there decides to get one, if you live, let's just say you live in Lake County, or if you live in Hickman, I'm going to suggest that you key in a couple counties across the river, plus your county, to give you the heads up. I do that for Obion County. I tell people, if you live in Obion County, program it for Dyer County, Lake County, and Obion County. If you live in Weakley County, do it for Gibson County and Obion County and Weakley County, because our weather patterns typically come from the west and the southwest. Severe storms move from the southwest to the northeast typically. So therefore, that's what I do. Winter storms totally different, and it works on that too, but it's highly recommendable to have those in your house.
Anytime there's severe weather, you need to also look to see what's going on in the Boot Hill of Missouri. That's usually a path right to us.
It is, and the river, everybody's like, man, the river, changes our weather. It does to some degree, but I think and I always go back to the December 21 tornado. That tornado, actually, that storm, and I've got screenshots of when it developed 3 to 4 hours earlier, started just northeast of Little Rock, Arkansas. It really just, once it got to the lake, Reelfoot Lake, and went up the bluff a little bit, things just kind of reorganized, and it started all again just, around the Kentucky-Tennessee border going through Casey.
Yep. And
then it just continued to gather more. So that was a perfect storm day, and the other day when we thought that we were going to have the bad weather, we thought it was going to be that way too. So thank goodness that didn't transpire.
I've heard people make that comment, the river saves us, but I've also heard people say, ask people in Dyer County how much the river saves them, because they've had a number of tornadoes over the year.
They have.
That come right across the river.
Yeah,
there. So
they really have.
That's just kind of a myth, isn't it, Brent?
It is. I think so. And hey, Mother Nature is, there's no map, there's no road map that those storms got to go down. They're going to go in the direction they want to go. Yeah. So
we were talking before the program today. You were talking, Joe Ward was here talking with us, and you were kind of explaining how patterns have moved that are affecting our area in a different way, and that's true for tornadoes, actual tornadoes, and rainfall, isn't it?
It is. Our weather is dictated by high and low pressures, and so far this year, the Gulf of Mexico has been a little warmer than normal. Now, when you get around the Panhandle, Tampa area, the Gulf waters have been cooler. Off the Mississippi coast, the Alabama coast, Panhandle and Florida coast, the waters have been cooler. But once you go out about 400 miles or 500 miles, the water really gets warm, and we've had that flow that's actually. The water's been so much warmer, we've had more of a tropical atmosphere that's been affecting all of the Mid-South, which that comes up, and when it meets this, these cool air fronts that we've got coming through that we're experiencing, we've got a little cool down now, are supposed to be taking place, the end of this week and the weekend. We actually see those storms and those big systems developed, and this year they were predicting that it was going to be a rough, severe weather outbreak for about 5-week period in northern Texas, Oklahoma, western Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri. That actually transpired. And with social media, anybody wants to get online. There's several of these guys that chase tornadoes. It's crazy to watch these folks, and you can see it firsthand. Now we're going into, they're saying the cycle is changing, that we're going to go hopefully more in a drier pattern going this summer. We'll wait and see. Right now it's not dry. We got more rain, that's going to be taking place, but then we're supposed to have the dry period settling in at the end of the week and over the weekend with slight chances of rain. So yeah, the Gulf of Mexico affects our weather a whole lot more than people realize. And we're 500 miles from there, 450 or 500 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. So it affects our weather a lot.
With your weather interest, have you ever had the opportunity to actually see a tornado?
I've seen 4.
You've seen 4?
I've seen 4 that I know of that were actual tornadoes, and I've got pictures of a couple. And even the night of the December tornado in 2021, I've got a GoPro going and videoed all that. And I when that took like a turn to the west of Union City and went up toward between Hickman and Casey and on toward Mayfield. I've got screenshots of amazing lightning from that storm, and I never did see anything in that. So, yeah, I've actually seen 4 that I'm aware of, and I was on the verge of being in the middle of Hurricane Michael back, I think it was 2018 or 19, whenever that was, down in Destin. We were there 20 hours, turn around, come back. But I saw the beginning of that. It was sunny that day, but I've seen enough weather events, that's historic. August of last year with our water that we had here in rain in Obion County and some other parts. So, yeah, there's been a lot of weather. Therefore, again, it affects us every day.
I've seen one tornado, actually picture right above my shoulder here. You see here on the wall.
I do see that.
That was the tornado that moved through
on the northeast part of Union City.
Yes.
And toward Woodland. And
it sure did.
Yeah, okay.
I caught it as it crossed the line into Fulton County.
Yeah.
That's the day the tornado came through here, and the sun was shining.
I've got that.
Else.
I've got a picture of it. I was standing northeast of town, facing toward the northwest, and I've actually got a picture of that tornado going through.
And I think they judged that tornado an EF1.
I think so.
But it sure did cause
and
a lot of damage.
And it came up. It was sunny right before it hit.
Yes, it was sunny.
Yeah. But yeah.
So I have seen that one. Let's go back to last year, Brent, a very unusual weather event that caused our radio station, if we were sitting here now, we'd have water over our shoes. About 13, 14, 15 inches of rain over a 2-day period. Very unusual, wasn't it?
Real unusual. Matter of fact, I was telling somebody the other day, I think 3 records were broken on that very day in that month. That's the most rain that fell on record for a day in August at one time, especially in a 30-hour period. That was the most rain that had ever fallen in the month of August. And so it brought the flooding took place, could not run off fast enough, and he just kept training. And so that was a historic day, totally. And a lot of people were affected. Best I remember, I think there were 20 businesses, over 100 homes in Union City alone, not counting what happened in Reeves and everywhere else that surrounded us. So
police had to do water rescues for those children up behind
Applebee's. A lot of
Applebee's.
rural water rescues, and saw water over Reelfoot Avenue that day, which was that was a first. Reelfoot Pond became a lot bigger, across and people that lived north of Reelfoot Avenue there got flooded out. So, yeah, that was flooding rains are very, very dangerous, and they do a lot of destruction, a lot more than really tornadoes do, if you want to know the truth.
So we are being in June now, June, July, August. We can still get storms, we can still get rain, but there tends to be less chances of tornadoes as we go through the summer. Is that not correct?
That is, and there again, it depends. It has to do with your front systems that move through from the cold and the hot. So that's a big player, in our game where we live in the part of the United States.
It's taking the cold air out.
It is, yeah.
Brent, before we close today, I want you to rehash on a point you brought up earlier, and I know anytime I speak with a meteorologist about a storm in Memphis, they always close by saying, make sure you have plenty of ways to receive the information.
That's right. And radio, get you a radio. Radio is going to be there. These folks have generators. Get you a crank radio that's got, it's got a little thing on there that you can crank it up. Make sure, always a good rule of thumb is to have batteries on backup. Have plenty of batteries in your house. And also, I'd like to ask people, if you want to follow me on my Facebook page, Brent's Weather page, I'd love to have you. I've got over 9,000 people that now follow me, and I just want to bring awareness to everybody, and that's my goal. And I appreciate the opportunity for you allowing me to share this time about weather, because it is a passion of mine, like fishing is, and so I love forecasting weather, or I love following weather.
Absolutely. We didn't get to talk about all those big bass you've caught this year.
Yeah, I've had a good year on spring. I have.
Brent, again, it's been a pleasure to have you on the program. We appreciate so much what you do for all of us here, and the information that you help us with locally here with things going on around Union City. Well,
I appreciate the opportunity and appreciate what you guys do, because people still pay attention to radio, and radio is local. And that's the good thing. And nowadays we have more ways to get radio with streaming and stuff like that with your apps and all. And we appreciate KYTN, WCMT, everybody that comes out to help us, because we're all in this together. And we appreciate everybody that gets the word out.
Well, thank you so much, Brent. And that concludes this week's 30 Minutes program. We hope you enjoyed today's program. And, of course, we invite you to tune in again next week at this same time as we bring you topics and information of importance to our community. From all of us here at Thunderbolt Broadcasting, until we meet again next week, I'm Charles Choate.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.